Hello and welcome back once again to our how to paint tile tutorial. Last time we did kind of a lot of the blue highlighting on our three models here, and then we obviously finish off the drone kind of off screen, so we won't worry about that for now. We are going to be doing a different color today to kind of break up the monotony. We still have to go back and clean up a little bit with that blue, but we're going to focus a little bit on some Abaddon black. This is pretty much going to be the legs and kind of the underside of the torso. So we'll kind of see how it looks. I'm still debating a little bit how much of the legs I want to do black because they do separate. We'll use our brush here to kind of point it out. So there's like a top portion of the leg, and then you have sort of a knee, kind of. It like blends in with the lower leg. And then we have the back of the legs, and I think all of that's going to be black. The top of the legs will be black, and then the lower portion of the legs, I'm still on the fence about. So we'll kind of see how it looks when we get there. But we are going to go ahead and dive right in. You may have already seen it, but we are using our size 0 brush for now. We are doing a little bit of kind of close proximity work with this white, and I want to be very careful about that. So we're going to try our best here. And actually, let me adjust our light a little bit so we can see a little bit better. I also want to do the kind of top half of this lower torso, if that makes sense. I know the words are kind of oxymorons there. It's kind of interesting. I've been looking up more paint schemes for these guys because I'm still kind of debating how I want them to look in general. I know I want the blue and the white, and obviously I want some black in there. But I'm still kind of on the fence about just how much of each, I want percentage wise. But like every single paint job that I've seen is just completely different. Like if you Google Tau stealth battlesuits, they're all entirely different. Like no one paints them the same. Just go to images and scroll down. I swear every single one was just wildly different, which is kind of a rare thing in terms of Warhammer. Usually, words. Usually, if I'm looking at a certain model, there'll be a ton of guys doing like the same, just kind of box art. It seems like no one really does that with this model, so that was an interesting little thing that I noticed. It does mean, though, that I have plenty of inspiration when it comes to deciding how I actually want these painted, which is nice. Usually, I don't get that. I usually have to search like the depths of Reddit to figure out how people are painting things differently if I want to stray from the box art. And that's fine too. I think the box art always looks good. I think the heavy metal team is amazing and they do some crazy stuff. So I don't fault people for trying to do the same color schemes most of the time, because I'm pretty guilty of that as well. I like to just keep things simple, but every now and then I do like to change things up a little bit. Hence why we are doing this now. And the backpack is going to be painted weirdly, so I'm not really going to touch on that yet. It'll probably be another episode or two. But essentially, we're going to be doing some kind of metallic highlights on that instead of our base colors we've been using for everything else. And I do apologize, I have to keep cleaning my brush here. This black that I'm using is actually kind of running out, so the pigment's kind of very prone to drying quickly on me. But we will do our best to kind of counteract that. And I think we'll move on to the lower legs here as we kind of work our way around. Again, I'm still not really sure how I want to kind of divide things up. I do know that I want the kind of upper thighs to all be black though. I think that'll give us kind of a nice little look here. And then when we get to the knee, we will just kind of hold off for now. And then we'll kind of double back and check everything out once we're finished to see how much further we want to go lower down the leg. And we'll get the back as well. I'm sorry if you can't really see it too well. I'm going into some weird angles here. If it makes you feel any better, though, I really can't see it that well myself. So we're both having a bad time. I do want to mention that I've been playing some Dawn of War recently, the second one, excuse me, to be precise. I've played a little bit of the first one. It's a little bit overwhelming for me. I like RTSs every now and then, but man, I'm not built for them. There's just, as soon as you get more than like 5 units, I'm lost. It's too much going on. I'm not good at the whole micromanaging thing, especially when you can't like slow things down. Like I really love the Total War games because you can put it in slow mo and really stop and take your time to figure out your next movements. You can't really do that in Dawn of War. So I've really been enjoying kind of the smaller scale of the second game. And I'm finally understanding the memes now of Blood Angels being thieves. Like every single item you pick up has a little bit of lore behind it, which is cool. I really like that. There's tons of items to get, and you can tell there was a lot of work that really went into it. But like every single thing you pick up is from another chapter, and you just quote unquote borrowed it. I think one of the first things I saw was like a Blood Angel's pistol, and in the thing it was like, this comes from a supposed trade agreement between the Blood Angels and the Blood Ravens. However, the Blood Ravens, or the Blood Angels, claim that no trade ever existed, kind of hinting that they stole it and just used the cover story, which is great. It's hilarious storytelling. And so far, it's probably my favorite Warhammer game besides Space Marine 2. I'm really enjoying it, especially for being such an older title, which there's nothing wrong with. Sometimes old games are some of the best. I want to argue that it's just kind of rare to find one that I enjoy as much as I am with this. I also want to say, on a kind of related note, Steam has like a trading card thing, right? You can get like Steam cards just by playing games, and then you can collect them on like their little kind of like stock market. I've never really understood it, so I've never really looked into it too far, other than like, if I play a game and it gives me trading cards, I'll kind of take a look at them real quick, because you get some of them just by playing games, and I think there's a limit, like it'll give you like 5 or something, and then the rest you have to like trade or buy or whatever. And I got a bunch for Dawn of War 2, and I go and look at them, and it was 5 trading cards of the exact same thing. Which, I don't care one way or another, but come on. Like, that makes no sense. And there's like 20 trading cards in that. Like, there was a ton. I don't know why it gave me so many of the same one, but there you go. Just a little anecdote I figured I'd bring up. I found it pretty humorous, so. Excuse me. I'm on the very back end of it, but I'm still just a little bit sick. It's really not a fun time. But we are still powering through. I keep saying it, but hopefully the next episode I'll be I'll be pure, I'll be clean, no longer sick, and I keep hoping that one of these times I'm going to be right about it. But so far, no luck, absolutely no luck on my part, which is quite the shame. And once again, some wacky angles as I try to struggle into these little crevices here. It's times like these that I really regret not doing sub-assemblies. It does make things significantly easier when you're painting something like this, where you have to do a lot of in-between work. But at the same time, I feel like it'd just be more of a headache once I'm finally like gluing everything together. So it's ups and downs really. We're just gonna kind of power through either way. And move on to the back, and we should be almost kind of done with this guy. We'll move on to the next one, and hopefully we can take care of 2 in one episode. That'd be nice. I really don't want to take too long on these, but I don't want to mess up our already existing paint job, so hence why I'm going a little bit slow. And then of course, we do have a bunch of detail work to do on top of all of this, so it's probably going to be a good handful of episodes until we're finished. I won't lie to you. But in turn, it gives me more time to talk about random stuff that I've been bringing up, which is awesome. It's kind of a weird juxtaposition, painting Warhammer and just kind of monologuing at the same time. I enjoy it, but sometimes our topics get a little off topic, so to speak. Case in point, I've been playing this new game. It's called Sunhaven. If you're a fan of Stardew Valley, I really suggest you check it out. I've been having a blast with it. It's a little bit weird, like you can tell someone on the design team is in, a little bit of a furry, which I'm not gonna bash one way or another. It's not my cup of tea, but there you go. Uh, it does give you plenty of choices though in terms of creating your character, and there is like a romance system, and there's plenty of different races, so to speak. It does get a little weird, but the core gameplay is like a direct one-to-one to Stardew Valley. There's farming, fishing, mining, combat, pretty much everything you'd expect to find. There's even a museum you can fill up, which is cool. That's probably like my favorite part of Stardew Valley. So I am glad that that kind of transferred over. Oh, as I throw things around, full apology. I was just trying to show off that we're kind of done with this for now. We do need to do another layer in some spots, but we will leave that. I might do that kind of behind the scenes so you guys don't just sit and watch me do, the same model for another half hour. But I've been enjoying it so far. The only thing that kind of throws me off is there's like 100 quests just given to you right off the bat. Your quest log just gets filled up like crazy, and it's almost overwhelming with how much you get. And I feel like every time I'm doing a quest, I just stumble into another one by accident. It's good fun though. It's got a pretty nice gameplay loop. There's a lot of just collecting random stuff, trying to figure out where it all goes, what it's all used for. I have like multiple chests full of stuff, and I'm only on like day 4, so it's definitely kind of grindy in a way, but in like that good sort of way. Like it's got that nice feedback loop that you enjoy, as opposed to like a gotcha game where just the grind is insufferable. But yeah, definitely check it out if that's something that you're interested in. Whether it's Stardew or like I don't know what the other one's called. Uh, Kind of like the new Animal Crossing, I guess. It's like that genre. By new, I mean newish, of course. I think it came out when like the Switch came out, which that was a hot minute ago. So not too new, but the newest. And our black is really running out here. I don't know what it is, but I feel like this black is actually super thin compared to normal. But we're working with it. It's been fun though. Also, it's half off. I did want to mention that. And actually, that's kind of the only reason I brought it up. Is because I picked it up only because it was half off, and I figured I'd give it a chance. It's like, I don't know, $10. Definitely worth the $10. I've gotten a decent amount of hours out of it. Not that I'm like advertising or anything. I kind of am, but it is definitely fun. I really suggest it. And as we kind of get in between the legs here, it does make me realize that we still need to go back and do that kind of middle piece with our blue. And I think on the other one, I still need to get the shoulder, like the bottom half of the right shoulder. I just missed entirely, which sucks, but it's all right. We'll clean it up at some point. There's just so many little things to do, all these little tiny details and hidden areas that it just really is hard to keep track of, especially switching back and forth between our 3 models here. But we're powering through. We're gonna get there eventually, and hopefully by the time we're somewhat done, it's gonna look pretty decent. Not that they look bad now, but it's a definite room for improvement, to say the least. I think majority of that though is just it's all over the place in terms of how finished we are in certain areas. But that is something we will rectify at some point. And scooch around, get the other side. I do want to apologize profusely for all of the wacky angles we're doing. I didn't realize that there was so many little kind of crevices in here that I'd have to get in this episode. Otherwise, I would kind of prep for that a little bit better. But it's fine. It's fine. Everything's good. We are doing the best here. I don't want to jinx it, but so far we've kind of managed to avoid messing up our main like white color scheme so far. We got a little bit of blue on it last time, which sucks, but that's fixable enough. The black itself, though, is much more difficult to fix. So I'm pretty thankful that we haven't managed to really get any of that in spots we don't want it yet. But again, not to jinx it. I figure as soon as I said that, it was just gonna get wild and wacky here, and we'd end up like painting the entire arm or something by accident. But we're doing good still, so we'll power through with that. Another game I've been playing recently, because otherwise I'm not gonna have anything to talk about, is it's called like Trading Card Shop Simulator. It's a really lengthy name, but it's a lot of fun. It's essentially like running like a local game store kind of. You start out with like these Pokemon card ripoffs, which actually they're pretty cool. There's tons of cards, and they're all like, I don't know if they're hand drawn or what, but they all look great. And there's, I think in like the main collection you have, there's like 1,000 of them or something. And there's like different editions, like there's first edition, silver, gold, EX is a different edition you can get, and they all kind of have like different values. Um, so you have like a card collecting game, and then on top of that, you also have like you do run your little store, and you have to like manage your customers and your profits and your income. It's really really in depth. Like it keeps you busy, surprisingly so. You can hire like employees and stuff. You can like change your store layout. You can expand your store. It's actually really in depth compared to what I thought it would be. But it is good fun so far. I've sunk a good number of hours into it. Even just opening the packs is pretty draws you in pretty well. So definitely something to look into if that's your cup of tea. Really any kind of simulator is something that really wraps me in. I don't know why, man. I really don't know why. It's like working an extra job in a video game, but something about it just always kind of grabs onto me. So it's a good game though. I really enjoy it, and the dude who makes it, I think it's just one dev, which is kind of crazy with the amount of work he's put in so far. But he does like updates like every other day. Like his grind is absolutely insane. And a lot of times it's kind of small stuff like bug fixes and whatnot. But he has like a whole roadmap, and it's actually in game. Like it's really nice the way he did it. It's just on the menu screen. But every like I don't know week or two, he adds like something major from the roadmap. The last thing he just added was like a customer review app that you can see on your like in-game phone. The guy is just crazy. Like he puts so much work into it, and it feels like he's constantly just on that development grind. So really, I just wanted to shout that game out because that dude deserves major kudos for the work he's put in so far. It's one of those things like early access games I'm really always on the fence about. I've seen a lot of devs just kind of take the money and run. But this dude is like clearly dedicated to his little craft. Kind of like how Stardew Valley was when that first started out, and that dude's still on that grind. At some point, he has another game coming out called like Haunted Chocolatier, I think. I don't know if it's going to be as big as Stardew Valley. I know he's got kind of like the cult following with his games now. Um, but I don't know. From what I've seen so far, I don't know if it's going to be nearly as big. I don't know if it's even like in the same kind of genre or whether it's its own thing. But I'm kind of excited for it. He keeps teasing it on Twitter a lot, so or X as it's called now, which is so dumb. But I'm not even going to touch on that. I think that whole thing was just goofy. But yeah, just some real shout outs I want to throw out there. If you're looking for some new games and that kind of is your cup of tea, definitely check that out. I myself am very cautious when it comes to buying new stuff if I don't really like the look of it, but those definitely drew me in like right off the bat. So maybe they will catch your interest as well. And if not, go back and play Dawn of War 2. You really can't go wrong with that. Definitely been having a blast with it. And they're kind of teasing Tyranids for right now. Like in the campaign, I've been fighting orcs and Drukhari, which I gotta say, Eldar and Dark Eldar are like the two armies I have no interest in Warhammer. I think their armor just looks super goofy, and they do not draw me in whatsoever. I think the only other group that is kind of like that for me is the AdMech, but they've actually got some decent models now. But for a hot minute there, they also had nothing cool that I liked personally. But now they do. They have like those really tall like walker things. They look pretty cool. So eventually we'll get into that. But man, Eldar just do not do it for me. They look like space elves, and I mean that in the worst possible way. But there you go. And you know what? I was going to start on this last one, but we just hit 20 minutes. So I think we will save that for next time. And hopefully we can try to go by a little bit quicker because we also need to do more cleanup work. And we need to finish off our blue and everything. So we still have quite the journey ahead of us. But with that being said, I do want to shout out. I have a Patreon. Link is in the description. If you guys want to support the channel, that is a great way to do it. Otherwise, my email is also down there if you want commissions or just to kind of talk outside of the comments. Feel free to do that. Otherwise, of course, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It helps me out very much, and especially comments, because I love getting your guys' feedback. Otherwise, I just want to say thank you guys very much for watching, and hopefully I will see you in the next episode.